Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Logical Nonsense Podcast. We have a loaded agenda to you. We have the NFL making some dumbass rules. Yes, you ever heard of a kickoff? Now you have no idea what it is. Yes, they changed that. Oh, you want another challenge? Hell yeah, we'll give you that too. Then we'll also talk about Zach Edey, how he only has one basketball move in his repertoire. Wait, did I say that? I didn't mean to. We'll also look at how shitty our bracket turned out after we made this great podcast together. Did not turn out, boys. Did not turn out well whatsoever. We got one of our 8 Elite 8 picks correct and not one of our final 4 correct. So that is fucking amazing. Yes, we are awesome, and we are definitely qualified to have this podcast. Let's get into it, boys. How are we doing?
Feeling
What
good.
an intro, huh?
You know what? If you have a good bracket right now, then you're just picking randomly because anyone that knows ball is wrong when it comes to the tournament.
Yeah, I will say the worst brackets are the people who have studied and tried to watch.
Mhm.
Jay Billis never has a good bracket. He always blows. So
It's very, very true. Well, we are going to start off our podcast with talking about the NFL rule changes. There's been some interesting rule changes in the NFL. Most specifically, the kickoff, which I'm going to pull up a diagram for those of you who are unaware of what happened with the kickoff. And then we're going to talk about this specific one, and we'll get to the other ones like the hip drop as well as some other ones. But let's start out with the most, I think, controversial one, the kickoff, the hybrid kickoff. Now starting, so the kicker is still going to kick from the 35, but the kickoff actual team will start at the 40, and then the receiving team is 30, and you have 2 kick returners. I'm not going to say anything. Let's just hear some thoughts.
this
Is it good for
going to
football?
the
Okay, no. I'll start with a good question. Is it good for football?
Okay. No, it's not good for football.
Why is it
And
not good for football, Doug?
because there are complicated things about football, but at the same time, it's a fairly simple game, especially when it comes to special teams. And the fact that you kick the ball, you run down the field, and you try and tackle the guy,
Yeah.
and they try and return it.
Yeah.
That's all kickoff was. That's all kickoff is.
Yeah.
And now there's a landing zone.
Yeah. As you see over here. Yep.
You can't kick it deep anymore. You have to return it, right? On sides, now you have to tell the other side. Like there's no when we were talking about our top 50 moments in the NFL, right? Or not in the NFL, top 50 moments, right?
Yeah.
That onside kick was in at least some of our top 50. It was in mine.
Yep.
Right at halftime. So, but now that you're not going to do that, because the other team will know. And I'll get into some other points later. Can you speak on it?
What do you think, Cade? Do you think it's good for football?
I think it's just confusing to football, and I think the NFL is kind of setting themselves forward, like they're trying to move forward with like player safety, right? That's why the big whole thing of this is player safety, but also they want the entertainment of a kickoff return back.
Yeah.
But it's just
you can't have both.
Yeah, but last year, right, there were so many touchbacks, there was hardly even a kickoff return. So there was minimal really opportunities for players to get hurt on kickoff. So I feel like the NFL is really kind of contradicting themselves with this whole rule change. I don't like it for the onside kicks. It feels weird. I know is it the XFL that does this in their leagues?
They were the first ones that did it.
Yeah. And
they don't do that anymore though.
Yeah. I don't get it. Why do we still have Thursday night games? Why do we have 4-day turnarounds if you're concerned about player safety? Why do you have people going to Germany, not getting a bye week? Like this is not the change. This is that the NFL needs, but I'm not a big fan.
No, I think any of us that are football guys, right? Like we've all played football. We all know kind of the excitement that a kickoff can bring. It can almost, there's so many moments where a kickoff, even if you don't return the kickoff, right? You just get a good kick return or like whatever, like that can change the momentum of a game more than people realize. I think, it's easy for a lot of viewers on the screen to not realize how much a kickoff can change momentum, can really bring excitement to just the team, not even just like to the fans, right? Just to the actual team. And to take that away, I think will have way bigger of effect than the NFL will realize. I mean, there's guys in the Hall of Fame with this rule change that would never have the opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame now. Like they're legends, and 50 years from now, people are gonna go, why? Why are they in the Hall of Fame? That's that's crazy to me that Devin Hester will be like, well, that's fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like to us, a guy like Devin Hester is like a legend, right? Like he changed the game, and for what now?
Yeah. Here's the thing that's also annoying, and there's some convoluted rules about this as well. Like in some cases, the ball, I think it's if it gets kicked too deep, right? The ball starts on the 35 now, and if it's not kicked far enough, it's on the 45 or 40. Like why is there a difference there? Like
if it goes into the end zone, they start at their own 35. If it gets short of the landing zone, it starts at the 40. It's just kind of stupid.
Why? Like it's just they're making it complicated for literally no reason. You know, if you wanted more entertainment value, move the kickers 5 yards back. They wouldn't kick it out of the end zone all of a sudden. The other thing that the XFL and the USFL combined now into the UFL.
Yep.
Right. And they scrapped this.
Yeah.
They don't do this anymore. If it was such a success in the XFL, you think when they combined, they would be like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
No, it obviously was not a success because they've reverted back.
Yeah.
My other problem with this is college going to be able to do this? Is high school. High school's not going to be able to do this. Kickers are not good enough in high school to land it in between the 0 and 20 every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now is the landing zone going to have to be larger in college and even larger in high school? What about middle school? Like,
yeah.
And you see where this level, you see where this becomes a problem because not everyone can follow this rule change now. Yeah. And football is like going to be so different depending on the level.
I guess the counterpoint to that, like people would make to you is, and I'm not saying like I'm like this, but like high school and college doesn't have to adopt this rule. Like they could keep it the same way. Like we see that with like what PI, like how they change it all the way up to wherever the PI happened, right? That's different in NFL versus college and high school rules. 1 foot versus 2 foot. Like there's definitely some college rule. I would be curious to see if it does translate if they do bring it into the college and high school level. Because to your point, I don't think there's enough skill at that level, but
not at the kicker position. But it to me is like 1 foot, 2 foot difference is not like
no, I get it. I get
what
you're saying. Yeah,
the difference and complication is not nearly the same.
Yeah.
The pass interference is a significant difference.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm not sure that I agreed with that either when it changed to spot of the foul. But
it used to be a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Now it's spot of foul. Yeah. That's how it is in high school still. 15-yard penalty.
So I don't know. My point is that it's just so complicated. Now I have to relearn kickoff.
how to watch football.
I'm gonna be a Swiftie next year.
Kid, any more thoughts on this rule?
Yeah, one more thing I don't like about it is starting at the 40 or 35-yard line. The offense is already advantaged hugely by that. Like they need 20 yards in there in field goal range if you start at the 40, just because your kicker was short by a yard or two. Like at this point, we'll see how it goes next year, but just start them at the 25-yard line. Just get rid of the kickoff if you want to, do things this bad.
We just keep moving up further, man. Like the touchback used to be
the 20.
Yeah.
The 20. And then it was a 25. Now we're talking about fucking 35, 40. At that point, like, I know what the NFL is trying to do. What brings viewers in? Touchdowns. I get it. But that's not the fucking game of football, man. Like, that's not the game of football. It's not a fucking scoring fest. We're not the NBA. We don't need to score 150 points a game. Like, that's not football, man. Like, special teams, defense, those are what wins championship. Go look at any fucking Super Bowl champ from any of those past years. Look at fucking Chiefs. Where are they sound? Their defense and their special teams. They don't make mistakes. That's why they win championships. You are continuously making it harder for the fundamental teams to win. Now Lamar Jackson's going to actually maybe win a playoff game. I don't know.
No, I completely agree. It's all for the offense. The offense is they scored like record low over the last 5 years, and pretty much every rule change that's happened,
it's benefited the offense.
Well, and that's they say it's player safety. I guarantee you it's not player safety.
Yeah.
It never was. They added a game. There used to be 16 games a season.
They want to add another one. They're talking about adding another one.
It's not about player safety.
Yeah. And they're talking about reducing the preseason games too. When you started getting rid of the preseason games, that's when people got more hurt.
and you give other guys less of a shot, like
yes.
guys lower on the roster.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just annoying. It's annoying.
Okay.
Stop changing the game we love.
Well, I'm going to talk about some more rules they changed. Hip drop tackle. What do we think about this?
Another rule the defense gets hurt on, or the offense gets beneficiary. And now we know how the officials called games last year. Now they have another opinionated flag that they can throw.
That's
they're deciphering if it's between it's a hip drop, maybe it's just a low tackle. Like now that's the refs have to decide between that. I don't like the rule because I think as a defender, if you're chasing a guy from behind, especially a stronger player, it's hard to bring him down from behind. Anyone that's played football, like the hip drop allows them to get their momentum a little bit. I understand there's injuries with it, but I don't think you need to eliminate that kind of tackle just because it's a significant disadvantage to the defense moving forward.
Real quick, Doug, because I know you're on the fucking brink. I'm gonna show this clip real quick just so fans understand what a hip drop tackle if you're watching on YouTube. Hopefully I don't get fucking copyrighted for this shit, but we'll see.
Exploring the possibility of introducing a new rule that would ban a specific tackling technique known as the hip drop tackle. This type of tackle has become a concern for the league due to the injury risk.
That was not a hip drop. Okay, whatever. All right, not the point. I think we get what a hip drop is, but continue, Doug.
All right. So I'm going to talk about that video for a second because this is the problem. The hip drop tackle technique. No one learns a technique to just drop their dead body weight when they tackle somebody. It's just something that naturally happens. Like it has nothing to do with, defenders are purposefully grabbing someone.
It's not like targeting.
And then just becoming dead weight.
Yeah.
It's totally not purposeful. All of these are accidents.
Yeah.
Like they got beat. They're trying to recover and make the tackle.
That's literally what happens. Yeah.
It's an accident. That it ever happens that way. And I think it's dumb that we're going to penalize things that are accidental. There are penalties that are accidental, right? But this one's also going to be 15 yards. And that seems excessive. I would also like to see the statistics on how many of these so-called hip drop tackles result in injuries.
I was just about to say that. Not even how many happen, but how many actually result in injuries.
Yeah. Is it like 2%, 6%? Is it 50? Maybe if it's 50, we have a problem, right? But I would argue, my point is, do I think this tackle change is going to change the game like a crazy amount? No, I don't think it's going to change it a crazy amount because I think people will just get the penalty.
Yeah.
Because it's an accident.
Yeah.
They're not teaching a technique of just become dead body weight on them.
Look, this rule to me isn't going to matter until it matters. Like Caden just said, until an NFL referee wants to insert themselves, this rule isn't going to change the game. Until, the Broncos are 1-16 and no, I'm just kidding. But they legitimately, I don't think it'll change the game like you were saying, Doug. And I think it's just another way for nobody understands this rule quite thoroughly, in my opinion. And I think it's just going to be a struggle, and we're going to continue to struggle calling the call. It's just like
it's
protecting the quarterbacks, all the QB late hits, and how they call that. It's just another rule change that I feel like they're going to struggle to call, when to call it. That should have been this. It's just adding more complication to the game that is unnecessary. And like you said, Doug, is most of the time an accident. It's not intentional, So I agree. All right, going on because there's a lot of rule changes. Next one, trade deadline is 1 week later. Any thoughts on this? Anybody have issues with this?
I like it.
I don't hate it. They added an extra game. Might as well extend it another week kind of thing. If you're going to add 18, might as well extend it 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They should take away the 17th game and leave the trade deadline a week later.
I agree. Yep.
All right. Coaches get a third challenge. Any qualms with this? I feel like there's enough challenges as is, especially with New York reviewing every touchdown. So I don't know. I mean, we talk about speeding up the game. I feel like this is just going to continue to slow down the game. Games are already 4 fucking hours. Like, I love football. Don't get me wrong. Like, I act like I don't like football, but like, I don't know. I also don't know how often coaches use challenges. Like, I feel like it's honestly most of the time it's just a referee or like New York reviewing it themselves.
They'll use it more often now that they have more.
That's fair. That's a good point. But do you think that's good for the game?
I think it's a net wash.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's okay. I think what they should do is have somebody at every game that just does speed reviews. So if they have quick challenges or quick reviews, their only job is to just signal it in right away so we can get these games going. Then I wouldn't care if there's an extra challenge if you just have one guy dedicated to making a call.
They see the flash of red, they instantly to the computer. Put the goggles on. All right, boy, here we go. Back to routine. No, I love that. Enforcement of fouls on charge of possession play. So during a play that results in a possession change, if fouls are committed by both teams, like any major offensive fouls, like unnecessary roughness, that were committed before the possession change will now be enforced. For example, like the guard, he gets not a holding, like a unnecessary roughness by the right guard, but the QB throws an interception. They're going to accept, they're going to get the interception, but they're also going to get that unnecessary roughness call as well added.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on then. This one's kind of confusing. There's changes to the replay. Just know that. Emergency quarterbacks. Emergency third quarterbacks who are available to play in case the starter and backup ejected or injured can now be elevated from both the 53-man roster and the practice squad. Last season, emergency QBs could only be elevated from the 53-man roster. So basically, somebody from the practice squad. So you can keep
one on your practice squad.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's fine, I guess. Yeah.
And let's see if I missed any. NFL's changing every year. We love it. No, we don't. All right. Going to March Madness Awards, boys. What a tourney. Let's do old school. Let's just really quick. You don't have to explain it very well. Just give me your rating, the old school rating. Grab your popcorn, Mediterranean or shit show of a March Madness. Just real quick. Doesn't have to be real descriptive because we're gonna get into awards and that'll describe everything.
I'm going to go with the good old grab your popcorn this year. I don't think there's been a lot of upsets, but I think the matches have been great, and I've really enjoyed, this year in a lot of these games.
Doug?
I'm going to go Mediterranean.
Woo!
And the reason being is because we have two 1 seeds, and both these 1 seeds, I think, are both going to make it to the finals. And if both 1 seeds make it to the finals, can we really say, it was a grab your popcorn year, So I don't know. I think it'd be grab your popcorn if someone would have upset UConn. But I'm afraid no one's gonna upset UConn.
Yeah, Illinois hung with them for the first half. I can't speak to the second.
I thought Illinois would have a shot.
Holy shit, boys. I don't know what happened there, but you know what? I don't know. I'm in between Mediterranean and grab your popcorn. We still had your upsets. Yale winning. You had Oakland winning. We see NC State and my boy DJ Burns in the Final Four. GCU won. We had our upsets. I'll go with grab your popcorn. I think overall, we might not have the most exciting Final Four because you've got UConn and Purdue still in there, and they're looking like the most dominant teams on both sides, but we still have some storylines, and that's the fun part about March. So I'm going to go with grab your popcorn. going to our first March Madness award. Are we ready, boys?
Yes, sir.
What was your favorite upset this tourney?
I think we know mine.
What's your favorite upset, Doug?
Oakland. I'm the only one to say it. I was the only one to say Kentucky's been overrated this entire season and that they were going to lose. Yeah, no, that's been my favorite one. Obviously, I've already forgot his name.
Jack Golke?
Golke. That's who it was. Yeah. Jack Golke. Yeah. Yep. Golke shooting the lights out, Lampin, sidekick. What a Cinderella story right there. I mean, obviously, I didn't think they were going to move on past James Madison because James Madison actually had a pretty darn good team. But they played James Madison.
NC State. NC State.
No, NC State. That's right. James Madison was the one right ahead. I didn't think they were going to pass NC State one or Texas Tech, but obviously NC State won. No, I mean, they were crazy. I think no one expected it except for like a few people that had thought Kentucky had been bad, but really, really fun to watch. Close game throughout.
I watched this game. One of my friends is a Kentucky fan, so we watched the game together. So there was tears. 24-year-old from this game because they have 2 NBA caliber guards in Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, and they just first round frauds again.
What was your favorite upset, kid?
My favorite upset is actually GCU over St. Mary's, and the reason is they have a player on their team, Tyen Grant Foster, who originally started at Kansas, went to DePaul, and if you don't know the story, he had like a heart failure at one of their practices to start the year. So he was unable to play for a year, and then he came back, and he was their conference's player of the year, averaging over 20 a game, and he led them to that upset over St. Mary's and gave them a good chance against Alabama. So for me, that was probably my favorite one storyline-wise, even though we had St. Mary's in our Final Four.
Yeah.
That was huge because I think a lot of people had St. Mary's kind of going far. I don't know about Final Four far, but
I mean, we did in our bracket, which we'll get to in a second. But
I know we did, but individually, I'm not sure any of us had them get into the Final Four. But I kind of thought that St. Mary's had a really good team this season, and that was a really good upset to watch.
Definitely. Mine is low-key like boring. I'll just say this, but I'll explain it. And it's just like my favorite upset was Oregon over South Carolina, and here's why. First, we predicted it. So I predicted my personal bracket. We predicted it together. But I also love the performance. I'm gonna say his name wrong. Cuisinart. Is that how you say his name?
Cuisinart.
Jermaine Cuisinart, because he balled the fuck out in that game. Was so fun to watch. Not only did he ball the fuck out, but he balled the fuck out against his old team. Which is just so much sweeter because they're the 6th seed, and this man puts up how many points he put up? Over 40, right?
41. Yeah.
Yeah, man. 41 points. A little Caitlin Clark style, which we'll get to later as well. But like, holy shit, man. Like first round, 41-point bomb on his old team, just saying, fuck you. I love it, man. That was my favorite one to watch. Just like seeing the emotion from that man too. Like you could tell he was a killer. I don't know if you guys enjoyed that or no.
It was a very good game. I didn't really know if Oregon could be considered. I mean, it is an upset, but it's kind of.
I see what you're saying. They're a bigger school, so it doesn't feel like. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like I chose Oregon personally.
I should have. Okay, can I go back? I low-key want to pick Duquesne.
Oh, that's a better one, I think. Yeah. I think that's a better upset.
Duquesne, because like that was one of the first games of the first day, and
second game.
I said one of the first. So like it was immediately like one of those things where like everyone's like, oh fuck, my bracket's fucked, you know? And it's like I just love seeing that. It's like hell yeah, like we're already in March, we're already setting the tone. The Mormons are playing like shit. The refs are calling all these stupid ass calls in the first fucking game. BYU's getting fucked over once again, but we love it because we love upsets. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good one.
Okay. I'm switching my answer.
Destroyed my bracket.
Can never trust Mormons. You heard it here first. All right. Did I say that? Fuck, damn, I say some out of pocket shit on here. All right. Favorite team to watch so far, boys? This one's a loaded answer, low key. Go a lot of different, and they don't have to be like still in it, by the way. Like they could have already left.
I think my favorite team was Clemson, actually, because no one supported them.
Yeah,
and, everyone's like New Mexico, easy upset, and they came out and they played this awesome pick and roll high-low offense with their guard in their post, and they came out and they steamrolled New Mexico and they steamrolled Baylor, and they held their own against Alabama too in that last game. I think if their center PJ Hall doesn't get that fifth foul, which was BS in my opinion, the Alabama guy hooked him. There's a chance they could have won that right at the end, but he goes out and then they lose by like 10 and Alabama hits 14 threes. But I enjoyed watching Clemson play. I love their high-low action. Good shooters. They were fun for a team that no one expected to be good.
Absolutely. Doug?
I guess I'm gonna go kind of a lame one, the Zags. And I'm gonna go this it's lame because like we're from Washington. I'm from Washington. Sorry, Caden.
You're a dick. You're a dick.
But the reason why they're the funnest to watch is because, you know what, their season was kind of a letdown for Zag standards, but then they still made their 9th consecutive Sweet 16. And, against Purdue, they got into foul trouble, unfortunately, and it just wasn't going to happen. But they were really fun to watch, I think, against Kansas and against Arcade. But I don't know. Watching Anton through the years, it was cool to see him get his team back to the Sweet 16.
That's my boy. Yeah. All right, so we've got Zags, you got Clemson. I have the team that beat Clemson. I'm gonna go with Alabama, man. They've been putting up fucking points this tourney. They are fun to watch. Usually, I'm like, I like the defensive teams, like fundamental basketball. There's something about this team that's just fun to watch. 109 points first game, 72 second game, 89 against North Carolina in a game that was so fucking fun to watch. I know, Caden, you and I talked about this. Grant Nelson, watching that man put up 5 blocks was almost more impressive than how many points he was putting up. I mean, that was super fun to watch because I thought that North Carolina team looked solid that game, and Alabama competed, man. And then they beat Clemson. We'll see how they match up against this UConn team, but they just put up points, and it's fun to watch because you don't always see that in college basketball, putting up that many points. So, Sears is fun to watch. Nelson's fun to watch. I like this team. What do you think of it, Doug?
I'm surprised Bama made it this far because they rely so heavily on their offense. Obviously, the thing is, I think when you're looking for when you're making your bracket, you're looking for a balanced team so that if something falters, you have that backup plan, and Bama doesn't really have a backup plan. No. We better put up more points. And they're in the Final Four. So it's been a big surprise seeing Bama make it this far. I really didn't think that they had it, but they've been fun, obviously.
Yeah. I think another thing about this tournament is teams tend to play better defense come tournament time, and Bama, they've shown that they can play a little bit of defense. That GCU game,
not much, but it's enough.
The GCU game, they play defense, and then the North Carolina game, the last 5 minutes when they needed to play defense, they stepped up and they played defense. Yep. Now, I don't know how well they're going to be able to defend UConn. They might have to go for 140 to win that game. So,
new All-Star game. Yeah. You know how they set the points every half? That's what they're going to have to do. If they don't reach it, they'll lose. Going to our next question, award, whatever you want to fucking call it. We've got player of the tourney so far. This one's tough, too. There's been some solid-ass players here. The people's favorite is Jack Golke, but who's the actual player of the tourney so far?
Hunter, you go.
Oh, fuck. Look, man, I gotta give it to my boy DJ Burns, baby.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say
DJ
that.
Burns leading this fucking NC State team to the fucking Final Four. He had how many points last game? It was
30 something, I think.
At least 25 points,
Yeah.
at least. But he's playing solid all weekend long. Everyone's talking about how unstoppable Zach Edey is. How fucking unstoppable is this man? Who's getting in front of this fucking 275 Krabby McPatty eating motherfucker? Like, no one, bro. Like, he is dominating in the paint right now. I love watching this man work. He's just the man.
You see what Jokic had to say about him?
No.
Oh yeah, Jokic likes Burns, man. He said I think he said even like I think he'd go well in Denver.
Bro, imagine Jokic and Burns together. Oh, that'd be hilarious.
He'd go well on the Dallas Cowboys O-line left tackle. Those smooth feet, those quick feet.
He's got quick feet. Feet.
He's been playing good though, like legitimately good too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's sneaky good too. Like he has like sneaky good moves. Like if you actually watch him,
athletic. He's like.
I mean, there's a reason why he was a 4-star prospect. That's for sure.
There are people that like are overweight that just have sneaky athleticism, and he is like the epitome of that. I remember playing those dudes in high school and being like, "No way!" And then boom, like you move quicker than me.
Okay, he's had one bad game in March. He didn't play good against Marquette, but 16 against Tech, 24 against Oakland, 29 against Duke, and then 4 against Marquette. But let's not talk about the Marquette game, all right? I'm still going with my boy DJ Burns.
I'm going to go lame again. I'm going to go Zach Edey.
Boo. Free throw orchard.
I'm going to get to him in a second in a later question. Boo.
How many points did he put up last game? Like 40?
38.
38. The reason being is he's just has yet to falter. He's played well in every game. He's led this Purdue squad through every game, and they honestly look like the second best team behind UConn. And I think they're going to get there. And really, he's their only shot to beat UConn.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying with the foul calls. I think it's difficult because he's so large.
Yeah.
And I think he uses his weight and movement well to get those foul calls and to not get fouls called against him. So it's honestly kind of a skill for a big man. He hits his free throws, and that's kind of another big skill for a big man. So that's why I'm going to go Zach Edey. He's shooting 71% from the line. That's pretty dang good for that big of a man. A big man that hits free throws is like gold.
400 free throw attempts, I think I saw this season. Fucking nuts.
Ridiculous. He averages like 9 fouls called a game, 9 to 11, something around that range. Yeah. But so I was torn because I was also thinking Edey just because he's been efficient besides the free throws. He shot like 8 of 12 last game, super efficient. But I like UConn center Klingan, I believe is his last name, number 32. Because in that Illinois game, when their offense was struggling in that first half, he kept them in the game, and he played great on defense. He scored almost all their points in the first half, and so he propelled them to that 30-0 run in the second half too, which is insane. So for me, I think Klingan's probably been my player of the tournament. He's the best player on the best team. I also like Dalton Knecht as well. Shout out to him, but he balls, but he also shot it 31 times in that Purdue game, so not very efficient. So I'll go Klingan.
Okay, I liked Knecht, bro. Like watching that man play, I think he's somebody who I think could translate well later on. All right. Speaking of translating, well, no. Since we just talked about him, is Zach Edey him? I know Doug's answer. So I'm not gonna go to Doug. I'm going to Caden.
Yep.
Doug just talked about Zach Edey. Caden.
Yes, I think he is him this year. He's proven Yes, he gets all the foul calls, but he's 7'4". Defensive presence is almost unmatched from any other team. Great rim protector. He's efficient. He only has 2 moves: that quick hook to the inside with the right hand, or just getting 3 guys dragged on him and dunking it. But I mean, you can't fault the guy for being that big. If he's going to get the calls, then he's going to get the calls. He has no control over that. And Purdue's without him is nothing. They got 2 decent guards and him, really. So I think Zach Edey is him this year.
I'll go next. I don't think Zach Edey's him. I don't. I think he's going to struggle against DJ Burns.
Oh my god!
Oh, no, DJ Burns might not get a shot up over him.
He's just gonna shoot over him.
No. I'm not talking about DJ Burns. I'm like offensively. I'm talking about DJ Burns defensively.
I think Edey's just gonna hook shot right over him.
Look, Edey has 1 move.
He's also 8 inches taller than Burns.
I know. I guess my next question, I can talk about this more, but I don't think he's him. I don't think Purdue's going to win the championship.
I'm afraid they won't either, but that's a different story.
Do you think
I want them to win now? Yeah, I think for college he is him. I think for college, like Edey is like we talked about, a big man that hits free throws is gold, and that's what he is. He's golden. I actually kind of, from when I've seen him play, I think his defense is kind of overrated. You know, like I don't think he's that good of a rim protector. Like, at least when they played the Zags, I'm not sure he had a black shot. Maybe he had 1, but like for how tall he is and for how big he is, I would expect more. Yeah, and he's not. So I think for college basketball and on the offensive side of the ball, he is for sure him.
Do you think he'll translate?
He won't be him in the NBA.
No.
Yeah. Look, I watched him against Tennessee, and I mean, I've been watching him this whole tournament, but he just goes back to the same moves over and over and over again. And I just feel like you get athletic guys in the NBA, even if they're center or not,
at the same size,
not going to work. Yeah, the same size. I mean, it's just not going to work.
Joel Embiid will smack his hook right back in his face.
You know, like Jokic will, like, literally, like.
Well, he's legit the same size. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so the unfortunate part about Edey and some big men in the college game is that they can use their almost unathleticism better.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could do some stuff in the NBA. Yeah, I think he has to add some more
things in his repertoire. Yeah.
Yeah, more post moves rather than just the hook
or the dunk, put back dunk.
Yeah. If he adds some stuff, I think he can do stuff because he can knock down free throws at a clip you don't see big men knocking down free throws.
Yeah.
So I think there's opportunity, but he has to get better.
Ken?
Yeah, I agree. He'll probably be a lottery pick in the draft. I think it'll take 2 to 3 years to really develop his new skill sets. Probably he's going to have to add a mid-range jumper.
You think he'll be a lottery pick?
He's
projected 14
lottery?
Right now.
Really?
He's projected 14.
How big's lottery now? I thought it was top 12.
No.
It's 14.
It's 14. So he's projected 12 to 14 right now. He'll probably fall outside it, but just also because the NBA draft this year is not very talented, I believe also. But I mean, I think you give him a couple years, he could develop into a guy that's like your 8-9 man off the bench. He could contribute a little bit. I mean, being 7'4", even if it's in the NBA, is still a pretty big size advantage. Just needs to work on his athleticism. I think he could have an okay career in the NBA. I don't want to count him out because he's best player in college basketball right now. So
yeah,
definitely not telling you to say, oh, he's a bust right away.
I could see.
Yeah,
this is probably disrespectful. I'm just gonna say it before I say it. Okay. My career projection for Zach Edey is Mason Plumlee.
I don't know.
I feel like he'll be around and like he'll be like asset when need be, but like I don't think he'll be anything too special.
Who's another one of those guys? Jakob Podol.
Yeah.
If you guys,
yeah,
I think
The
that's
Spurs.
Fertile.
decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Tyler Hansbrough, maybe. I don't know. Hansbrough, I guess, didn't have that long of a career, to be honest.
Depends on if he develops a mid range and
Roy Hibbert
gets more post moves. But Roy Hibbert, no.
Roy Hibbert was a fucking man for a season, I swear.
Yeah, he
All right, we'll go to final predictions. Who do you think is gonna win these games? Are we gonna have a 1-versus-1 matchup? Caden?
Yes.
My heart.
See you eyeing that over there.
My heart's telling me Bama for some reason, just because they shoot the ball. Even though, if you look at UConn on paper, they're obviously the best team in college basketball. But what I've learned from the tournaments is that hardly ever pans out.
That's fair.
And my other point is there's this website you can simulate all the college basketball games. I did that on one of my brackets, and it had the Final Four correct, and it has Bama over NC State in the championship on the simulated bracket. So my bracket's not top 10,000 in the world, but I think Purdue smokes NC State. Personally, I don't think they can get anything going inside with Edey. NC State's not that big of a team. Burns gonna have a tough day. Sorry, Burns fans. We all love Burns. And then Purdue is the second 1 seed that loses to a 16 that wins the championship the year after.
Oh,
history books rewrite
Virginia.
themselves.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1 seeds both make it. Lame season. UConn wins back to back. They just look better. They look better than everyone else. What
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Purdue's the only shot to beat them, but at the same time, I don't think the Edey train's gonna last all the way.
Here's my thing: is like Alabama's run has to end some point. Like they're gonna have a game that's what we think, right? They're gonna have to have a bad offensive game. And I don't know if it's going to be this round or the championship round. But either way, I don't like it because either way, I think a 1 seed's winning. I just don't know who. I think if UConn can get past Alabama, I think they're winning. But I think if Alabama beats UConn, I think Purdue wins it.
Make a decision. Right now we got Purdue, UConn. What's your pick?
I don't know why. I just can't think of UConn going back to back. Like, I know they're good.
We have not watched enough games.
No, I have. I've watched pretty much every game this tourney.
I know.
I really have. But it's
not sticking in.
It's just there's something about them to me that just I don't know. And I also don't like it when everyone pencils them in as a winner. Like so many reporters do that. You know what I'm saying?
They're the favorite. Yeah, they've been the favorite.
I hate when people pencil a team in. No doubt. You know what I'm saying?
But
I'm gonna go Alabama over UConn, Purdue over Alabama, and Zach Edey's stock is gonna rise to number 10 pick.
I think Zach
and then he's gonna not be as good as everyone thinks.
I think
that is my prediction on the Logical Nonsense podcast. I hope I can clip this back. If that happens, that'd be dope. But we'll see. Going to our final segment of March Madness. Is there an NBA? I don't have a banner for this one, but is there a college player in this tournament that you think played well in the tournament and will also translate well into the NBA? I can go first. I think, Caden, you mentioned him earlier. I really like that Knecht kid. I think he's a great shooter. He moves around off the ball really well. Like he finds ways to get open, finds his shots. He gets to his mid-range game. Something that people don't talk about enough in the NBA, especially casual basketball fans. Mid-range is so important for the game. Like that spacing wise is just can create tears for a defense. Because especially if you're able to score inside, you can score from the outside. Obviously, we know he can shoot a 3, right? But getting to that mid-range game, that's not everyone can do that. And when you get that going, that's tough because they're gonna, you have to close out on his 3, pump fake, get to that mid-range, easy 2. I think he'll translate well. He's a good shooter, And as we all know, what does the NBA want right now? They want shooters, and he finds his shots. So I like Dalton Knecht. I'm saying his name wrong. I fucking know. I need to take a name pronunciation class. I don't know where you can take those. Maybe it's like a GCU thing. I heard that college wasn't real. I don't know. But
Caden, do you want to go or you want me to go?
Yeah, I'm still thinking here because I really like Rob Dillingham from Kentucky, even though they only had one game. He kept them in that game, but he's right now, I'm pretty sure he's projected top 10.
Yeah.
So I think he's like a De'Aaron Fox kind of player to me. They're quick, they're explosive, they got a good mid-range, good three. I think he's going to translate well to the next level, even though they only had one game, which sucks because they were playing pretty hot coming into the tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mark Sears of Bama. We talked about the NBA is looking for offense. NBA is looking for a shooter. Sears fits the bill. I mean, he's hitting, what is it, 40-something% from three. He's a scorer, and he does the other thing. He gets boards every once in a while. He plays decent defense. He gets some assists. So I think Sears, obviously, is a senior. So I'm not sure how high he will go because he's older, but I think he could be good in the NBA.
Might want to change mine now because as soon as you said Bama, I thought Grant Nelson, and he's long. He can score the ball.
Athletic.
He's super athletic. Exactly what the NBA wants. I could see him excelling in the NBA, given a couple of years to develop.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that huge game against UNC. He's fun to watch too. When he's on, man, he's really fun to watch too. So,
he's a senior as well.
We'll go NBA. So we got 10 games left in the NBA, or not 10 games. Sorry, less than that. 7, 8 games depends on what team you're cheering for. It's tight, man. We saw Houston make a run there for a second. We don't know if they're gonna do it, pull it off. They're 2 games. More than that now, actually. They're more like 2.5 games, 3 games behind Golden State. Do you think they can pull it off, or is it too out of reach now?
We'll see. They play the Warriors in a couple days, so I think that'll be kind of a deciding factor.
It's basically what, a 2-game swing, pretty much?
Yeah. No. So that'll be big. But I think the Warriors, even given how old they are and how under-talented they are this year across the board, I still think they have enough veteran to close out the regular season. And the Rockets went on a crazy run. They went like 13 out of 14 or something. They're 9 out of their last 10 until they lost tonight. I don't see them sustaining that for the rest of the season. It's going to be hard. They're going to have to win out, I think. So I'll give the Warriors the last seed, but it'll be close.
What do you think?
Yeah, the Warriors, looking at their schedules, the Warriors have an easier schedule. Obviously, even if they lose, they still have a half game. They'll still have a half game lead on the Rockets. So, and if they win, they pretty much clinch it. So, I think it'll be the Warriors in the end. They'll need it. If the Warriors just win that game, it's pretty much over. So, they just need to show up for one game, and I think Steph can do that. So,
definitely, yeah, I think it's the Warriors. I think it was a cute little run the Houston Rockets went on, but it's too late. You spent way too much money on getting mid-tier guys. I love you, Fred VanVleet, but you did not deserve the money you got, and neither did you, Dylan Brooks. So that's what happens when you spend that much money on those 2 guys. 2 things I also want to bring up. Who's going to get this 1 seed, man? We have a 3-way tie right now between OKC, Minnesota, and Denver. 52 and 23. They're all 3 have it. And the 1 seed actually kind of does matter with the in-season tournament now. Well, kind of. I don't know. Low-key, it kind of sometimes kind of sucks because you get that hot team out of the... Well, no, because I guess... I don't know. You can sometimes get a hot team out of the in-season tournament, as we saw with the Heat. Bucks. Who do you think? Who's your choice? We going SGA? We going Jokic? Or are we going with that Ant-Man?
I think the Thunder are going to get the 1 seed. I think they just want it more. If they're a young talent, I think they're going to play their hearts out the last, 8, 6, 7, however many games are left of the season. because they got something to prove, right? They're the young guys. They don't have any experience. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
So I think they close it out.
I'm going to go the Nuggets. Jokic is probably still the best player in the NBA, although it's debatable for MVP, but he's probably still the best player in the NBA. And the Nuggets are a very talented team. I think they'll probably get it done if I had to choose.
This one's tough for me because I know my sleeper team of the year was the Timberwolves. Do I believe in the Timberwolves though? It's hard, man. It's really hard. It's really hard to believe in this team. I think I'll have to go with God. So tough. Do you go with the old vet? I'll go with the old vet. I'll go with Denver. It's tough though because I do think OKC really wants it. You can tell in the way they play it. SGA really wants it. I really like the team chemistry they have on their team too. I think they'll make a playoff run. Whether they're a 1 or a 2 seed, they'll make a playoff run. They're a tough team. They've got a lot of depth on their team. Like, it still amazes me how many guys they have who can just score on any given night. And yeah, Jalen Williams is a dog. And everyone's talking about SGA. Don't get me wrong. He's been playing well, but Jalen Williams is a dog, man. You still have Chet Holmgren and Josh Giddey. So we have 2 teams that could make it that have losing records. What do you think about that?
Well, 2 teams are going to make it that have losing records, right?
They could technically turn it around. They could win their last 6 or 7.
Sure.
They could. I'm just saying.
They could. It's possible. Do they deserve to be in the playoffs? I think that's something we should be talking about.
I don't know. Did your Seahawks deserve to make the playoffs that year?
No. Stand up and say no. Do you think the Bulls or the Hawks are going to beat either the Heat or the Sixers?
No.
No, exactly.
I don't know. The Hawks did just beat the Celtics back-to-back games. That sucked.
Yeah, I saw that. That was not good.
But
Celtics have what, a 12-game lead, 10-game lead?
12.
12, yeah. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do we think about the Celtics? Are they going to make a run? Is this the year? No. Not even are they going to make a run? Is this the year?
This has to be the year. Because if it's not, I don't know what else they can do.
If it's not the year, it's going to be long, I feel like, before we win again.
Yep.
So this is the year. This is our year.
Yeah. Okay. We've heard those words from Caden's mouth before. All right.
Never said that about my team. I know they suck.
I'm kidding.
The Celtics are 32-3 at home. Just think about
pretty damn good. It's pretty damn
good. Road game.
Pretty damn good. All right. MLB opening day / MLB season. What do you think about your Mariners this year, Doug?
I think it's been pretty predictable from the Mariners' point of view. The team has a good pitching staff, but man, their offense needs help. And again, we didn't sign anyone crazy. I mean, we got Polanco, we got Garver, right? Garver, he had to take off a break for a couple games there. Polanco's been, I don't know how he's done tonight, but before tonight, it was like, it's been a little rough start to the season for him. Just the Mariners need to learn how to score without hitting a home run, because pretty much all their run production comes off hitting a home run right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm still mad that you took Polanco. I know he started off rough. He usually, from Twins fan experience, he usually starts off a little shaky, and mid-season form is when he's at his best. Right after All-Star break or right before All-Star break is when you'll see him kind of kicking in gear. So it's not unusual. That is not something I haven't heard before. But the Twins, I'm very saddened about the Royce Lewis news. I just don't get it, man. I don't understand how many times this is probably his 5th or 6th injury. and he is so good when he's in. He's so good. I mean, first at bat, first pitch, hits a homer. I mean, last year almost broke a record for most grand slams in a season. And he didn't even play the whole season. He's constantly on IL. And he's just such an asset to this team. So that was a huge blow. Buck is looking good though, which is a good sign. We lost tonight against the Brewers, which sucks, but I don't know what to think about this team. The good thing for me versus the Mariners is the Twins are in a shitty division and the Mariners aren't. So we can get away with losing games here and there. Seattle kind of has to be in tip-top shape most of the time if they want to compete in a division with the Astros and the Rangers. So I don't know. I also don't love that we lost 2 pitchers and we really didn't gain anybody that I felt like replaced a pitcher like Sonny Gray or Kenta Maeda. Maeda was up and down last year, but he's still an asset to have in your pitching rotation. And so to lose both him, I think Ober, who last year was really good, this year, first outing, gives up 8 runs in, I think, the first or second inning. Currently has an ERA of 54, if you were wondering.
Oh, Lord.
Not good.
No.
So I'm a little worried about the pitching. I love Pablo Lopez, great pitcher. Joe Ryan, great pitcher. Little concerned about the other 3. I think we're going to see a lot of inconsistency, which is not something you want at the pitching rotation. So our bullpen is actually pretty solid. With Griffin Jacks and Johan Duran and some other guys, but a little worried about the startings.
Yeah. Mariners are down 4-0 right now, by the way. So just more proof of the offensive woes. We've scored 0 runs.
Yeah, what do you think of your Red Sox? You got any thoughts? Are you gonna watch them this year?
Maybe. I think looking right now, I don't know. I feel like I'm watching the Mariners more after living in Washington, but I think they're gonna be an average team again this year. They haven't really had that fire since like the early 2010s, or really the talent, I'd say. This year it looks like their games so far to start the year have been super low scoring. So they have a decent bullpen. It looks like they've only allowed 10 runs so far, but they've also only scored 23. So it just feels like there's going to be one of those average teams, and the East is a tough division too. So they'll be okay. I'm more cheering for the Yankees to do bad. I'm happy the Astros are 1-6 to start the year. That makes me happy. So I'm more preying on teams' downfalls than supporting the Sox this year.
Well, Liam Wilson, who we all know, likes the Red Sox this year. He thinks they're going to make the playoffs.
Whoa, that's a bold take.
I will say on the logical nonsense. Yeah,
I will say, having seen them play the first 4 games against the Mariners,
they're a tough team.
They're better than I thought they'd be. I did not expect the Red Sox to have a good season, but you know what? They tied it up 2-2 in the series. So at Seattle as well, which that's not good for us. That's pretty good for them though. So they are in a tough division in the East, just like Seattle is in the West, and I think that will probably keep Boston out of the playoffs. If I had to guess, Seattle's on the outside looking in too at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I think the only reason why I have the Twins in is because they're in the Central. But
yeah, the Central's garbage.
Yeah, I do think the Twins have potential though. I don't know. The Royce thing really bums me out. Like, I know he shouldn't be one player. Baseball is not one player. I know that. But
no.
He's just such a firepower to the dugout. It just really sucks having him out. So we'll see. I think they have potential. I said potential. They have potential to be a 90-win team, but we'll see. I think it's doable, especially playing how many Central teams we do a year. But all right. Boys, anything else you'd like to bring onto the podcast? Final thoughts, anything like that?
Yeah, Caitlin Clark
Oh,
women's
yeah.
Yep.
Clark. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Caitlin Clark dropped 41 on the LSU Tigers after being this last year by Angel Reese. Talking about some drama. Now everyone's trying to, oh no, poor Angel Reese. I get so much hate on the internet. Shut up. You did it to yourself, man. You want to be cocky on the court, you're gonna get slapped back. I'm sorry. If you want, what do they say? What's that one phrase? If you're gonna have heat, stay in the kitchen. I don't know.
But no, it's similar to like Drake.
Clark, man.
Oh yeah, no, she's a stud, an absolute.
She's fun to
stud.
watch, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the UNC Iowa game. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. These women's games are even more exciting than the men's games at the moment.
Yep.
And it has to do with
sport.
the fact it is. It's really good. I think the sport's also gotten better. I mean, Caitlin Clark's doing things that like I don't think I've ever
way behind the
people in her face. Haley Van Lith in her eye.
Mid I don't know what you call that mid
logo.
Yeah, man.
Logo.
Fucking Christ. She should pull up from anywhere.
She had 9 threes in that game, no free throws, 40 points. Absolute stud. And I think the biggest part for her to be able to control herself and not, I would have been a total jackass if I was her and I would have beat Angel Reese in that game. But, she did hold it together. She's had some like situations, yelling at her dad earlier in the tournament. That was weird. I think I've ever seen that happen in college sports, but what she's doing, what's happening in the girls basketball game right now is incredible. And
final is good too.
Yeah, the Final Four is already sold out for them. That's awesome to hear. UConn, even though they're a 3 seed, they're a sleeper team. They've been dominating their region. It's going to be a fun Final Four. NC State kind of feels like a sleeper team. They shouldn't be there on the women's side, but South Carolina is also just that good.
South Carolina's been that good for in the women's for like ever. So
yeah,
I mean, not quite as forever as UConn, but ever since UConn has not won, it's been South Carolina dominating.
Yeah, I'm excited. I just love like how much attention they're getting, and like it's good attention. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like they deserve that attention. They've earned that attention because they're making highlight plays. They're making it fun to watch. The storylines are fun to watch, right? Like Caitlin Clark is doing things we've never seen done at the college level. I just had a podcast with Akamia Deadweiler, who's ex-college basketball player, played for NAIs, and I asked her about, like women's evolution. She's followed WNBA for quite some time. She said, I don't mean to offend anyone by saying this, nothing, but she's the best shooter the women's game has ever seen. She's like, people might say, throw in a classic legend for the WNBA, but she's like, she is legit the best shooter, especially she's still in college.
Yeah.
She's shooting at a WNBA level, at elite WNBA level already.
Yeah, I mean, I think the game has just gotten better, and it's maybe even more. Honestly, in every sport, we continue to see the evolution in athleticism in the game. Yeah. And women's basketball is now reaching a point that is like it's at a point it's never been, and it's at a point where it's getting the attention that it deserves well
worth
beyond.
It.
Yeah. I think it started with Sabrina Ionescu.
Yeah,
when she was at Oregon. I mean, putting up the triple doubles that she was, you could just tell that she was going to be a star in the WNBA, which she is. Yeah. And you can tell Caitlin Clark's going to be the same. So,
yeah, she might be the fucking face of the WNBA, and not very much time allotted. Yeah. People love this chick, man. So, all right, anything else about WNBA, college women's basketball, anything like that?
What do you think of the big three approaching Caitlin Clark and offering her a $5 million deal to play in their league? Did you hear about that?
I did not.
Ice Cube offered her $5 million to play in the big three next year instead of declaring for the women NBA draft.
How much? It's probably a question I don't want to know. How much did she make in the WNBA? Like 100,000?
I'll look it up.
No, I mean, I'm not like I'm literally not being a dick. I legit thought it was that for a while.
I don't know
WNBA first draft pick salary. I'm gonna look it up. The base salary for WNBA rookies is $72,000.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
No.
Okay.
No.
So like, I mean, that's kind of a hard offer to turn down, but also if you're the face of the sport, like you have to obviously go to the women NBA.
I also feel like she's pretty.
She'll get.
She's a humble person, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I just don't see her doing that kind of thing.
And
chasing the money.
She'll get enough sponsorships to cover the cost too.
$5 million, boys. That's a hard offer to turn down. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know this.
Tiger did it.
Does the Big Three have a women's division?
Nope. She played with the guys.
Yeah, I think for that reason she chooses the WNBA, and I don't want to sound
sexist.
Sexist, but I did see some of this talk on Twitter and whatnot that like, why isn't Caitlin Clark even like playing the NBA? And it's like, it's not like she's a great shooter. But it's possible she could become a shooter, but she's not gonna. She doesn't have the athleticism to get open in the NBA. And against the guys in the Big Three, from what I've seen, they're ex-NBA guys too. Usually, I think Jimmer Fredette's gonna be. Or is that Olympics?
That's Olympics, but
that's Olympics.
He might be in the Big Three. I don't know.
He could be. I think for her, the better option is probably the WNBA, just because she will be the star, and it's not competitively like a disadvantage. So,
okay.
She could retire at the end of her WNBA career and do the Big Three, and they'll offer her probably $15 million to do it then.
Yeah, is she the GOAT? And like, is she gonna be the GOAT of WNBA? Are we gonna talk about her?
I think that's too early.
Too early? Too early?
Too early.
Putting that too much pressure on her already? Am I putting too much pressure on her? I'm putting it out in the universe right now. I'm putting it out in the universe right now, just so I can get credit later on. I'm just kidding.
There's some really good WNBA stars.
No, I know.
She's gonna have to compete with them first, I think, before she gets anointed.
Definitely. I mean, Taurasi and oh my gosh, Bird. Thank you. I was blanking on Sue Bird. My Amores had a great career. I'm gonna forget. I'm just
Candace Parker.
Candace Parker.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Brianna Stewart. She's had a good career. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people who had a really good career. So all right, boys. It was a fun one. We talked about a lot of fucking sports because there's a lot going on. It's March. We love it. But sometimes it's a little overstimulating. You need a little ADHD in you to get through it. So we love it. All right. Thanks for coming on, boys.
Yep.
Thanks
for having us, Hunter.